Imagine being caught in a romance that could destroy your family's legacy forever. Diana was hiding in the shadows of the royal garden, her heart racing as the man she loved, the very man her brother called an enemy, drew closer. "If they find us, everything ends," she whispered, the cold air of betrayal on her skin. But as the Duke pulled her into a passionate, secret embrace, she knew she couldn't turn back. This wasn't just attraction. It was a forbidden romance that would ignite a war of land, titles, and deadly secrets. Stay tuned, because what happens when her brother discovers their secret meetings will leave you breathless. In the rich city of San Mirato, two powerful families were locked in a 30-year land dispute that poisoned the very ground they walked on. On one side was Federico Duarte, a man consumed by the cold ambitions of his wife, Laura, who cared more for gold than blood. On the other was the Duke, Bruno Lozano, a man of mystery and power. Federico's sister, Diana, felt the heavy weight of this rivalry every single day. She felt the pressure of a forbidden romance calling her name from across the river, the very place she used to play as a child with the boy who was now her family's greatest rival. Laura, Federico's wife, was a woman of venomous intent who wanted Diana out of the way. She manipulated Federico, convincing him that Diana's kindness was a weakness, and pushed for a marriage that would sell Diana's soul for a higher title. But Diana was already living a double life. She was deep in a forbidden romance with Duke Bruno, meeting him at the edge of the river under the moonlight. Their bond grew in the silence of the woods, far from the prying eyes of the court and the toxic influence of Laura's greed. Every Saturday, Diana would ride her horse, Noob, across the forbidden borders. She wasn't just riding for exercise, she was riding toward a forbidden romance that gave her the strength to face her brother's growing coldness. In the Duke's mansion, they shared coffee and dreams of a world where their names didn't mean war. Bruno looked at her not as a Duarte, but as the woman who held his heart captive. This forbidden romance was becoming a beacon of hope in a city drowned in old grudges. Inside the Duarte mansion, Diana's only ally was Maria, the cook. Maria knew the secret of the forbidden romance and helped Diana sneak out of the house. They would spend hours in the kitchen, preparing bread for the poor, while Diana whispered about the Duke's kindness. Maria warned her that the fire of a forbidden romance could burn the whole house down, but Diana was already too far gone. She was willing to lose her inheritance just to feel Bruno's hand in hers for one more minute. The tension reached its peak during the grand ball of the Menendez family. Diana was forced to dance with a man she detested, while across the room, Duke Bruno watched her with eyes full of longing. Every glance they exchanged was a dangerous step deeper into their forbidden romance. When they finally found a moment alone in the garden, the world disappeared. Bruno promised her that no matter what the judge decided about the land, he would never let their forbidden romance end in tragedy. The next morning, Federico gave Diana an ultimatum: marry a stranger or lose everything. He didn't realize that his sister was already committed to a forbidden romance that gave her the courage to say no. Diana stood her ground, her voice steady even as her heart trembled. She realized that Federico was no longer the brother she knew. He had become a puppet for Laura's ambition, fueled by the hate that kept their forbidden romance a secret. As the weeks went by, the city of San Mirato began to change. Bruno and Diana started working together in secret to help the local villages, proving that their forbidden romance could actually bring peace. While the families fought over dirt and maps, the lovers were building wells and schools. This forbidden romance was no longer just about passion. It was about healing a community that had been divided for far too long by the pride of men. One afternoon, in the quiet of the Duke's library, the mask finally slipped. Bruno confessed that he had loved Diana since they were children, long before the land dispute became a war. He asked her to marry him, knowing that it would be the ultimate scandal. Diana accepted, sealing their forbidden romance with a kiss that tasted like freedom. They knew the storm was coming, but they were ready to face it together, anchored by a forbidden romance that defied all logic. The day of the court hearing arrived, and the atmosphere was thick with dread. Federico and Bruno sat on opposite sides of the room, unaware that a forbidden romance was about to be the least of their problems. The judge produced an ancient map that proved the Lozano family had always owned the disputed land. Federico's world collapsed. He had lost the fight, and in that moment of defeat, he realized his wife Laura only loved him for the land he no longer possessed. In the aftermath of the trial, Laura abandoned Federico, proving Diana's suspicions right. Alone and broken, Federico wandered to the river where he found Diana and Bruno together. The secret of the forbidden romance was finally out. At first, the air was cold with the threat of violence, but then something shifted. Federico saw the way Bruno looked at Diana, with a devotion that Laura had never shown him. He realized that this forbidden romance was the only thing that could save their families from total destruction. In a move no one could have predicted, Federico gave them his blessing. He chose his sister's happiness over his own pride, ending the 30-year war with a single handshake. The forbidden romance was no longer forbidden. It became the foundation of a new era for San Mirado. Bruno and Diana married in a sun-drenched ceremony by the river, where the fences had been torn down. Their forbidden romance had turned a battlefield into a garden, proving that love is the only true inheritance. Years later, the halls of the Duke's mansion were filled with the laughter of children. Diana and Bruno would often sit by the fireplace, telling their kids the story of the forbidden romance that changed history. They taught them that titles and land mean nothing without love and integrity. Federico, who found his own peace with Maria, would visit often, grateful that his sister had the strength to pursue a forbidden romance when he was too blind to see the truth. The memory of Laura faded as the city flourished under the leadership of the Duke and Duchess. The Duarte-Lozano alliance became a symbol of hope. People would travel from far away just to see the river where a forbidden romance once bloomed in secret, a reminder that no wall is too high and no grudge is too deep for a heart truly committed to its destiny. Thanks for watching. If you love stories about romance that defies the odds, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more. See you next time.